Greetings, friends around the world, and welcome to Caravan to Midnight. Tonight, we're going to discuss cryptocurrencies. Well, many people believe that they're going to take over the current fiat system. It's really rather complex when you view it from a distance, but as you get into it, it begins to make sense gradually. And before long, well, you may be on the thin ice of a little learning rather than a little education. And even a little may not be sufficient to go forward with the confidence that you may want before you invest in these products. However, that said, and I say that, the aforementioned stuff, because I don't know, I kind of like to know what I'm doing. I like to know as much about whatever it is I'm doing as I can before I actually start doing it. Now, somehow that makes perfect sense to me. And these two gentlemen we're going to speak with, Bill Danielson, and a man who just calls himself Joe because for some reason he says he gets a lot of haters. They're on the same page where cryptocurrencies are concerned, but, well, let me just tell you about them from their biographical sheets. William Danielson. Using both computer science and mechanical engineering abilities, he became expert in instrument software engineering. Having been successfully designing efficient real-time software control systems for mass spectrometry, holographic ultrasound imaging, and servo stepper motor controls. At PNNL, with help from National Instruments Measurement Studio Libraries, .NET development, real-time systems, and networking, he had development control for research projects on 6 IMS instruments, a TIMS instrument, an ion conveyor, and an ion funnel trap. He received second authorships in several different technologies such as mass spectrometry, FAMES, MRM, microfluidics, and smart LTQ-FT systems. At Advanced Imaging Technologies, he developed the interface and controls for a diffractive ultrasound tissue imaging system tested on over 180 patients. Prior to this, his background studies included writing and designing motion control products used for manufacturing, and another in wide format photo quality imaging, etc. Developing optimized, safety-oriented code has been a rewarding and exciting experience for Bill. Now, Joe is an IT guy from Florida who started doing YouTube videos in 2009, 2010, trying to wake people up to many different things. He got into cryptos in 2015, that would be Bitcoin specifically. Then in 2017, he got into altcoins. Recently, he's been finding many psychics and himself crossing paths and feels there are some very interesting times ahead. So basically, we have the scientist in the lab and we have the man on the street, and they're both interested in the same thing. That would be cryptocurrency. So we'll get into that here in just a minute. All right, welcome, gentlemen. It's great to have you with us. This is kind of nice having all three of us here like this. You know, usually it's one-on-one, but I like the group. I like the party atmosphere of having, you know, a couple of the main players on here with myself. So, how goes, Joe? You don't really want to use your last name, so that's fine.
I just go by Joe, Jsnip4 on YouTube, or Realist News, same name on YouTube.
But Bill's okay with it, so we're good. All right.
Yeah. So I'm known as Deepend in the CloakCoin community. I'm the primary developer on CloakCoin, which is an alternative a Bitcoin.
Yeah. Now, without giving away too much information, wouldn't want to. How did you two fellows get together to work on this thing? I mean, Joe, you describe yourself as an IT guy from Florida, started doing YouTube videos back in 2010, trying to wake people up to many things, and got into cryptos, specifically Bitcoin in 2015. And now you're working with a guy that, and this sentence just kind of blew my mind, the part about I've been successful designing efficient real-time software control systems for mass spectrometry. See there? Mass spectrometry. Holographic imaging, servo stepper motor controls. How did you two guys get together and decide that going for the CloakCoin development thing to do?
Well, there was an original guy that was named Razor. Okay, and Razor ended up having some personal issues, and he ended up having to step aside.
Oh, gotcha.
And so then I ended up stepping in and ended up helping him out. And that was the main issue right there. But he's more than welcome back. I mean, he's a genius in the CloakCoin community. So anytime that he's ready to come back, he can come back.
Well, you've done some pretty good stuff there, though. You know, I don't know. Maybe he doesn't want to come back. But I mean, I'm mainly a YouTuber, right? So I got into cryptos, and I cover all kinds of different cryptos, not just, you know, Cloak or Bitcoin or anything. I'll cover any crypto that needs to be covered. And I got into them like 2015, you know, Bitcoin. Started mining a little bit back then, and ended up getting like 3 Bitcoin out of that deal, and then just sat on them for a while. 2017 rolls around, and I start to get into some of the altcoins, Ethereum, and you know, a lot of these altcoins came out, and they run on the Ethereum network, so they're known as ERC20 tokens. These particular ones, I got into one that was called Veritasium, like $6. I ended up selling the thing 3 weeks later for over $120 a piece. Got a freaking house out of it, like not paid off, but I put a nice down payment on a house. I'm like, holy crap, you know, crypto. So I'm looking at all these other ones. Then the privacy coins are like, hey, there's a need for those because you can't track the transactions like you can on all these other coins because they're pretty much an open ledger. And so hence CloakCoin comes in the picture. I like CloakCoin. I end up talking to a few people on the CloakCoin project. And then fairly recently, Bill and I got together and did a video on my YouTube channel talking a little bit more about where CloakCoin's heading and that sort of thing, and why we honestly, all of us, I think CloakCoin's actually superior to Monero, which is kind of like, you know, the other competitor or whatever. But that's kind of how we met. We're not actually like partners, or I don't actually work on the team, but I cover it so much, and I've got a subscriber base that loves cryptos. So it's like, hey, anything I talk about, they want to know about. And I'm like, well, let's chat about CloakCoin, because I think in the future there's going to be a real need for this. There's only 2 of them right now, really real good privacy coins. That's Cloak and Monero. But again, we feel Cloak's got the better technology on this. So that's kind of how me and him met recently. You know, he took over that lead position over there. We just started chatting about some you know, where it's going and some of the improvements, like he just said, with the security audit and all that stuff. So
when you say that, for example, if the technology is better behind CloakCoin, what does that even mean to people who would like to know but simply don't?
Well, there's 2 main differences between the Monero and CloakCoin. One of them is proof of stake versus proof of work, and the other one is ring routing versus onion routing. You end up sending out a broadcast, and what ends up happening is participants return saying they're willing to participate in this transaction. Okay, and then that transaction ends up getting split up 2 to 4 times per participant. Okay, and then it gets wrapped up into different layers. Okay, and then that transaction ends up getting sent out over to the first participant, who's only able to unwrap that first layer of the onion. Okay, which ends up getting sent out to the next participant, which is only able to separate out that next layer. Okay, and then it ends up going off to the next participant. Okay, so nobody can tell who's actually sending the transaction, who is receiving the transaction, or how much the transaction amount is.
Well, how do the authorities take to that?
Well, I'm sure the authorities are not too happy about that, but it's actually based off of Tor, which is actually a military type of a routing. Okay, so the United States Navy, I believe, it uses Tor.
I don't even know what that means. I suppose it means just layer after layer after layer.
That's right. That's exactly what it is. That's right. So you've got a encrypted core that gets encrypted on itself, then gets encrypted on itself, and only the next player ends up knowing how to decrypt the next layer to get that message back. And it's the most private way that anybody can do it, because you've got several layers of encryption on top of itself.
I think that the main thing about blockchain technology, all these coins and stuff, it's a way out of the old system, and everything not including the privacy coins, those, CLOAK or Monero. Everything has a ledger. You can track everything. You can see what address sent to what address. I mean, honestly, in my opinion, I think we need this in government bad, so we can really try. When the Pentagon comes out and says the day before 9/11, we can't find $2 trillion, and then we forget about it because 9/11 happened.
Yeah.
I'd like to know where that $2 trillion went.
Well, it's behind the copy machine with the hard drive that the Chinese wanted. Right?
Exactly. So there's some really good use cases for blockchain. I mean, you want to send money to somebody overseas. I got to go Swift. I got to go pay $30, $40 to get a freaking wire transfer. I got to wait. I got to make sure it's all right. I got to sign off, and I just want to send some money. Can I quickly do that? I could be anywhere in the world right now. You could be right where you're at. I can open my wallet right here on my PC, even on my phone, and say, oh, what do I owe you? $80? You want that in Litecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum? What do you want it in? Oh, you want it in some CloakCoin? No problem. Send you $80 worth. Here you go. Within a moment or two, cha-ching. Okay, I got it. Now we're good. I feel there's still an enormous amount of money to be made in cryptos right now, even in 2018, because people think, 2017 came and went, and that was the best time, and that's it. I'm telling people right now, you haven't seen anything yet, in my humble opinion.
That's we know a fellow named Joby Weeks, who's a big Bitcoin guy. And he says that thing's going to take off. And it did go to 18,000 and change here. I think it might have crossed into 19 minutes.
$20,000 Bitcoin is going to be like it was when it was $2,000, and people are like, oh, it's going to crash again. And now here we are begging, please give me $2,000 Bitcoin again. I'll do anything.
Right.
There'll be a time in the future when people beg for $20,000 Bitcoin. They beg for $200 Litecoin because it'll be way higher.
Bill, do not go on. This will keep you going.
So CloakCoin actually made it all the way up to $33 as well. Right now it's down to less than $9. So we're getting ready to really rock. If you actually compare the value of Monero versus CloakCoin, we're talking $900. I mean, since we only have like 5 million coins in CloakCoin, and you compare the market value directly to CloakCoin, you could be talking about over $900 per coin in CloakCoin. But once we end up starting to be recognized, we're working right now on trying to get into finance, exchange, etc. So there's a lot of potential involved right now on CloakCoin.
All right, and you can buy CloakCoin now for how much?
About $8.
About $8, all right.
$8 or $9.
Those privacy coins should do well. So even though Monero is way higher at this point, and we still think Cloak's a better coin, the rest of the world hasn't caught on yet, I guess. So the potential for CLOAK to really go is very high too, because like you said, there's not a whole lot of supply versus some of these other coins like again, Monero or any of them really. It's a very low supply coin. And that's the thing, people think, oh, well, there's only 1 million or 2 million of such and such coin. Everyone has to remember though, there's a decimal point and it can move many, many, many points over. So you can, at some point, let's say, CLOAK's worth $10,000 or something crazy, and I need to send you $100 worth. Well, I'll just send you 0.0001 of a CLOAK, just like you do in Bitcoin today.
Right.
You send a 20th of a Bitcoin, that kind of thing. So exciting times in crypto world. I'm trying to tell the people it's
now about this CloakCoin. It's selling at about $8 now.
$8 or $9, yeah, between $8 and $9. Yep. And
where do you get it?
Well, right now you can get it through Bittrex, and there's a Livecoin. I believe you can also buy it through Livecoin, and we're actually trying to also get into
Binance.
Right. The next what?
Binance.
Binance, right?
Yeah.
Now we're trying to get to Binance. It looks like that's more than done as well. So we need to wait for them to fulfill their whatever it takes for them to end up incorporating our coin into their system. But right now we've confirmed that they've been able to build our wallet.
Why are we thinking that the world's going to move to this? Is this not another fiat currency? I mean, how is this better than what we've got now?
So it's the same as like silver or gold or diamonds, right? You know, they all have a worldwide value. And
Sure.
then, yeah. And so, you know, they'll end up being supported by the entire world. So you have a storage of values, simple as that.
Gotcha. So the main selling point for CloakCoin is, number one, it's going to go up in value. It has to, because that's just the way these things go, I guess. I mean, that's kind of a shotgun out the back door.
No, the comparison is that how much privacy do you need?
Right.
How much privacy do you want? Okay, and the question is, okay, is Monero good enough? Well, I say no. Then you take it to the next step, and you end up with CloakCoin, and then maybe there'll be another step after CloakCoin. But the whole idea with this electronic currency, especially with the decentralization of Bitcoins themselves, is what you're trying to do is you're trying to make sure that you end up having a storage of wealth. You have this very basic electronic coin that ends up protecting your privacy on anything that you want to do, and it's the basics of freedom.
And this coin offers the highest level of security.
As far as I know, absolutely. So what we end up having with CloakCoin is you have much faster currency than Monero, which a Monero transaction itself, it takes like 20 minutes, and CloakCoin takes less than 1 minute, and you've got several layers of encryption on top of CloakCoin, which is based on the onion routing, which has also been tested through the Navy and the military of the United States. So absolutely, I think that CloakCoin right now is the best coin for privacy in the world.
And what got you into the cryptocurrencies?
And I ended up getting really fascinated with the encryption.
Okay, gotcha.
And so I ended up getting myself into it, and I started working on that. And then after about 6 months, I ended up kind of walking into this position, and they ended up making an offer. You know, originally I was just going to help out with the forum, right, which was just try and prevent some of trolls that would end up working on the forum. And then one thing led to another, you know, and they ended up giving me this offer, and I said, I'm in. I'm actually quite proud of the work that I do. Is that absolutely has nothing. None of the work that I've ever done could possibly hurt anybody. Okay, so I'm pretty proud of that.
Joe, what was or is your main bag, if you will, to use a term from the Stone Age, that eventually got you into cryptos?
Are you familiar with Cliff High and his webbot and that kind of stuff?
Oh yeah, we've talked to him a few times on the program.
Okay. So years ago, I'm an IT guy. I do a little bit of programming, database work, things like that. Have a day job. That's what I do there. But I used to read stuff about his webbot, and fascinated me. And next thing I know, I'm talking with him, and we're chatting, and we kind of became friends on the internet. Never met him in person yet, you know. And he just starts, you know, I had people telling me in 2013, I moved to Tennessee for like 6 months. I think I wanted to live out in the country. Did not quite work out, so we headed back. But while I was there, people are asking me on my YouTube channel, hey, talk about Bitcoin. You know, what do you think about Bitcoin? I'm like, I don't trust it. It's, you know, at least with fiat dollars, you can touch the fiat dollars. You can't even touch that stuff, you know. So I'm like, was kind of, you know, bad-mouthed it, but I'm like, you know, I need to look into it, you know. So I start looking into it. Maybe a couple months later, guys, I think there's something to this. This is going to be good. I think I made a mistake when I told you guys what I said before. I'm going to retract that now. I think there's something here, you know. So I start following a little more. By the time I got back, 2015 rolls around. I'm starting to mine the things, just the technology of mining. I'm like, let me see if I can do it. Wasn't real hard. But then Cliff High starts putting out these reports in 2015 saying December timeframe, we're going to start seeing 408 to 428 3 different times on the price of Bitcoin. My webbot says so. And I'm thinking, well, his webbot's not always right, but I'm, of course, going to pay attention. Well, he nailed it. says the next price target's 888, and it's going to bounce around that number for a little while. It just keeps coming up. Sure enough, 888 goes past it, goes back down, 888. I mean, I'm getting emails out of control about this. So I'm like, okay, I can't just sit here and ignore this now. So I started buying some Bitcoin then. Goes up a little higher, buying some more. So I kept buying a little bit at that time, waiting for his next report to come out. His report's telling us more about Bitcoin. It's going to 2,000. It's going to 3,000. Sure enough, it goes exactly where he says. I'm like, man. So then he starts throwing out these numbers. It's going to be over $13,000 and in like February or March of 2018, except didn't quite happen exactly like that. We did get past 13,000. Matter of fact, we got to 20,000 in December. He also said we'd see 3 triple-digit Litecoin when it was like $40. So all this stuff's fascinating me, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to start listening to what's in his report. So I get into Veritasium, like I said earlier, and all that. And I made some good money on some of those calls, and I had a lot of people follow me from my YouTube channel doing the same thing I was doing. So I mean, I got people telling me, "Hey, I could pay my house off right now," and I be honest with you, I could too right now. And I just bought the damn house like 5 months ago. But I'm like, I don't want to, quote unquote, waste my cryptos yet. Not until they go much higher. I want to use it as least amount as possible, right? So that's the whole concept of how this is working, how high they're going. I mean, I just can't ignore it. And I start talking about the stuff. People start following me doing it. And next thing you know, my YouTube channel is growing and growing and growing because people, you start talking about money and people are making money. They want, they're going to listen to you. Not that I'm trying to charge anyone for my information. I'll tell you everything for free. But it's just, I can't ignore it now. Just too interesting and exciting for me.
Is there anything that you'd like to bring to the party here that you have not pulled out of the bag yet, or?
Well, we're getting ready to release an update, which is going to be including encrypted wallets, which is done by one of our programmers by the name of Anorak, and then we also have a guy by the name of Frado. I also want to call them both out because they've been wonderful for our community. And then I'm going to work on the dev fund, and then we're going to end up porting over to Litecoin, and that's going to be done hopefully by July. And we'll be right up at the top with the current technology of all the Bitcoins.
Okay, so when you're going to say you're going to port over to Litecoin, what does that mean?
Well, right now, the CloakCoin is actually based on a Bitcoin code, which is from 2014. And then right now, well, it's also open source, which is Litecoin. So we're going to end up incorporating our CloakCoin into the Litecoin code.
Gotcha. So a lot of people, there are a lot of people out there that would like to get into this, but not unlike myself. This requires some study, and we know it, and we're not willing to devote the expensive time necessary to learn all about it. I mean, it'd take us a while to get up to where you guys are, I think.
Yep.
Well, I'm just going to throw you a little pro tip. Everybody I've ever told to get into cryptos, when I told them, later on they come back and say, damn it, I should have put more in. Man, I should have put more in when you told me. Man, I put more in when you told me. And you can't turn back the clock. And right now, the markets today and yesterday, boy, are they screaming, buy me right now.
That's unbelievable. What's going on right now is absolutely fascinating.
But look, we got to go, but I'm going to stay in touch with both of you. My people will get in touch with your people, or I will get in touch with you directly because I got your phone number. So I won't call at 3 o'clock in the morning unless it's really, really important. And I don't mean I'm drinking. I just want to talk, man. No, seriously.
Sounds good.
I love you guys. Take care out there, will you?
Hope strong.
All right.
All right.
We'll see you.
All right. Take care.